Many people miss out one very important fact. There is something which is many times more powerful than the mind and which is vital in this self-transformational journey. You all go to office to work. Does the mind enjoy working? Impossible. There are 1 out of 100 workaholics. Everybody else's mind doesn't like to work. Given the option, you would have a weekend every day. You would rather sit at home with the family than go there. But then how do you manage to work? When we talk about self-discipline, the self-discipline means control of the senses, but more importantly, the control over the mind. That is self-discipline. The mind is like a spoiled child. Mind says, I want this, I don't want this. And self-discipline means you control the mind. But in this endeavor to fight with the mind, many people miss out one very important fact. There is something which is many times more powerful than the mind, which God has fitted into us and which is vital in this self-transformational journey. In this transformation, in unlocking our immense potential, we don't realize that far more important than the mind is what? The intellect. We think the mind is not under my control. The only reason is the intellect is not trying to control it. If the intellect decides, it will immediately control the mind. Only a mad person's mind is not under control. You all go to office to work. Does the mind enjoy working? Impossible. There are 1 out of 100 workaholics. Everybody else's mind doesn't like to work. Given the option, you would have a weekend every day. You would rather sit at home with the family than go there. But then how do you manage to work? Because the intellect says you need to do it whether you like it, Mani Ram, or you don't. You have to bring the bread onto the table. So everybody controls their mind and they keeps working. So throughout the day, you are using your intellect to control the mind. That is why I was saying yesterday that you never shout back at your boss, right? Anger always flows downwards. The boss has shouted at his subordinate. The subordinate controls and he shouts at his subordinate, who controls and shouts at his subordinate. And that guy is the lowest in the ladder. He doesn't have anybody to shout at. So he knows if I shout this way, then I'll lose my job. He goes home and shouts at his wife. The wife says, if I shout back, I'll get into trouble. She shouts at the child. And the child shouts at the dog. So in each case, they know how to control anger. It's not that they can't control it. If only the intellect decides, it will bring the mind into control in a moment. This example I always give, that one little child, the parents have complained, Swamiji, our child does not study, please explain something to him. Arey Baba, he is your child, you explain. No, he does not listen. Okay, beta, why don't you study? Swamiji, I don't like to study. My mind does not like to study. It's a big problem. Mind does not like to study. How can I study? But the same child when he or she goes for the final year exam, the end of the year exam, for 2 hours the child brings the mind under control. There's the question, and with optimal utilization of mind and intellect, the child is answering. No distraction now, not looking at the neighbor, not looking out of the window. The mind is totally focused. That means the child had the ability to focus the mind. Where did this ability come from? The intellect decided these 2 hours are very important. Now, if you are careless, you will lose the whole year. Once the intellect was convinced about the gravity of the situation, it exerted its power and controlled the mind. That is how the child remained focused for 2 hours. That kind of focus, if the child had retained for the whole year, he or she would have become a national level merit scholar. But through the year, the intellect's decision was otherwise. Studies are important for parents, not for me. They don't know what they are talking about. Video games are more important. So when the intellect was not convinced, even if he takes the mind there, the intellect says, come back here. In other words, the intellect has it within its ability to control the mind if ever it utilizes that power. So we think, oh my God, the mind is always running into the world. If the intellect decided, it would pull it back in a moment. You see, consider this example. One person is hungry since 4 days. After 4 days, his mind, senses, intellect are all in torment. Food, food, food. You bring for him 56 vyanjan, 56 kinds of items on a silver plate. You are hungry? Take whatever you like. Indulge yourself. Now he sees that hot, brown crusted gulab jamun with its very tasteful texture. So the mind starts questioning the intellect. There is some relief and pleasure here. Can we eat that gulab jamun? The intellect says, I am also in great agony. Go ahead right away. The intellect has instructed the mind has instructed the hand, and he has picked up the gulab jamun. Now he's bringing it close to his mouth. He's already started salivating in anticipation of that pleasure. In that situation, can you create detachment in this hungry man? You would say impossible. Actually, it is very easy. You just have to convince his buddhi. Hey, what are you doing? You wish to die? Die? The intellect heard the word die. There's something wrong out here. It told the mind stop. Mind told the hand stop. What's the matter? Don't you know there is poison in it? Potassium cyanide. You take it, you'll be dead in 20 minutes. Potassium cyanide, even the vapors are dangerous. So intellect took a split-second decision. This is harmful for me. Throw it away. It told the mind told the hand, and you chucked it. That man who was hungry since 4 days, it did not take him 1 moment to get detached from that rasgulla. So how did he do it? The intellect, once it was convinced, it brought the mind under control. You want to check his detachment? Just offer him $1 million. Sir, please eat. I'll give you 1 million. What will a dead man do with 1 million? I don't want it. You can't tempt him. But have you seen anybody put poison in it? No. My friend just told me. So is your friend an avatar of Harish Chandra? Is he the most truthful person in Texas? No, I've caught him telling lies many times. Teri kasam, meri kasam. So such an unreliable person, without ever seeing poison, one unreliable person gave one sentence, there's poison in it, and you became detached. What created the detachment? It was our intellect. Once it was convinced, it exerted its ability over the mind. So this ability of the intellect to control the mind has been given to human beings. It has not been given to the animals. It is we humans who can do this. That is why Lord Krishna said, Arjun, what I am telling you is Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi Yogam upashritya machitta satatam bhavaha. You will say, Swamiji, what is Buddhi Yoga? I've heard of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Hatha Yoga, and in America, Hot Yoga, and many others. But I've never heard of Buddhi Yoga, the yoga of the intellect. Lord Krishna says, what I am telling you, Arjun, is the yoga of the intellect. Buddhi Yogam upashritya. 4 times he used the word Buddhi Yoga. Why? If the intellect gets corrected, your work will be done. This intellect is so important. So he tells Arjun, Mayeva mana dhatsva, mai buddhim niveshaya. Surrender your mind to me and surrender your intellect as well to me. So your detachment from the world depends upon your intellectual conviction.
Presenting the biggest Diwali Mela ever, DFW Diwali Mela 2023. Fireworks, Ram Leela, Sitaram procession, laser show, Rangoli exhibits, kids rides, yummy food booth, eye-popping Desi Bazaar and the hottest concert of the year, the Makedar DFW Diwali Mela, 4th November at Cotton Bowl Stadium. Grab your tickets today. Email rktdfwdivalimela@gmail.com.